Hi, welcome to Is It a Film, a podcast that critiques and memes films and asks one very important question. Is it a film? Spoilers, as per usual, for this show. We're going to be going into plot details, plot twists. The entire...
You try to expand it for more than what it is. It's just spoilers, so watch out. You don't need to, do a 4-minute bit.
I'm fucking do a bit. Everything.
You literally just go on and, spoilers, so watch out, because there's twists, turns, things, and then you just do, 5 other adjectives that are in this thing.
Fuck you. I'm your host, Jonathan, a.k.a. Here's Johnny would have been way too easy, so my name is now Tim.
And
I'm joined by my entertainment co-host, my best friend, my pal, my amigo. You know who he is. It's Vincent.
a.k.a. I couldn't think of an ad. AKA, I don't care. I'm done with AKAs for a little while.
Fucking fail.
I'm gonna have Trevor write them for a little bit.
Piece of shit.
I'm done with these AKAs for a little bit.
This is episode. Here's Spotty.
No, I'm not. Here's Spotty. We talked about this before. Here's Spotty is too it's not even close enough. It has the Y and the O, but
it has the same syllable structure.
Oh my god. Okay, AKA here's Spotty. This is episode 15 of Isn't a Film, an episode we would like to call The Shinning.
The Shinning.
We're gonna kick your shins. Today we're going over the 1980 horror film, The Shining. We're gonna be giving you a basic ass intro, telling you why it's important. We're gonna go over the Wikipedia plot summary, going over some Google and IMDb reviews, and giving you a terrible last segment where we tell you about conspiracy theories about this movie.
Oh god, there's so many.
There's so many.
There's too damn many.
So yeah, before we go any further, you can find Is It a Film on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Is It a Film, and you can find us on YouTube at Is It a Film. And Jonathan, what's today's clickbait title? Is it the best horror movie ever made?
Greatest horror film ever made? ?
So, The Shining, 1980 horror film. We're gonna go straight into the basic ass intro. It was based on The Shining by Stephen King,
AKA everyone's favorite writer of child orgy scenes. Because of it.
Tell us about Stephen King, Jonathan. Tell us about your opinion of Stephen King.
Stephen King's a fucking moron. Stephen King is a writer of good ideas, but he doesn't know how to execute them properly. He always writes really dumb shit, and then people come along and they make film adaptations of his work, and they get rid of all the dumb shit, and the films are good, and then everybody praises Stephen King for making the original story, despite the fact that they had to make the story by getting rid of all of his dumb shit.
I think in this one it's the plant monsters. Because doesn't
The Happening?
No, this one has I think.
Oh yeah,
in the TV show at least there's plant monsters.
Look, we don't talk about the TV version.
It's directed by Stanley Kubrick, who makes my favorite film of all time, A Clockwork Orange.
Stanley Kubrick is one of the greatest film directors of all time, up there with the likes of Akira Kurosawa and Ingmar Bergman and
John Cena.
He's
never directed a film in his life.
And I hesitate to put Hitchcock up in the list, but because I think Hitchcock is really good, but he's not at that level. He's just really known because he's, the original auteur.
Yeah.
I put Godard at that level.
Wow, aren't you edgy?
Yeah. That's the most generic ass, who's a great filmmaker? Godard. It's the most fucking generic ass name you could throw out there.
Yeah. It stars Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Scatman Crothers, and Danny Lloyd.
Scatman.
Tell us about Jack Nicholson, Jonathan.
Jack Nicholson is professional crazy person.
Is he just real life Homer Simpson?
He might be. He seems like a nice guy in real life, but he's just so crazy looking 24/7.
He's all okay. Let's go over this cast. Jack Nicholson's all wild hair and eyes. Shelley Duvall is all teeth and eyes. Danny Lloyd's a kid, but he's all eyes. And the Scatman is just like a normal person.
Scatman's a black man horror film, so he dies.
So 90% of this cast is just eyes
and a dead guy.
Yeah. Music on this is done by Wendy's Carlos and Rachel Elkine. Wendy's Carlos did the fantastic score to Clockwork Orange, one of my favorite scores of all time. And I think on this it's very suspenseful, and it's just fits a weird nostalgia too.
from the opening shot with the music and just the very simple but very eerie, just over the mountain shot with the music immediately sets the tone, and that's what this music does so well, is the way it sets tones, but also plays of expectations, because sometimes it kicks into like full creepy mode when there's no real reason to be scared and there's no payoff to the moment, and then sometimes it doesn't have that when something terrifying does happen, and it kind of plays with the idea of how we use music in horror films and turns it on its head to basically fuck with the audience.
Yep. Why is this film important, Jonathan?
I mean, it's often credited as the first epic horror film, and while that may not be necessarily true, I think there might have been epic horror films beforehand. It's definitely the best.
Epic horror.
It's definitely the best of the epic horror films of that time and of all time, because The Shining is not only a cultural like milestone of a huge pop culture moment that's constantly getting referenced and parodied, but it's truly one of the best horror films ever made, and one of the greatest exercises in how to direct suspense, and also how small details can play a tremendous impact on how a film creates terror.
And also how if you destroy the source material into something good,
Yeah,
the original writer will hate you.
It's also the ultimate like explanation of how a film isn't supposed to be a direct adaptation all the time. An adaptation is an adaptation. They're different mediums, they're different artistic personalities. Some are good, some are Stephen King. And you need to be able to accept that, you know, it's not going to be perfectly like the book, because it's not the same fucking guy who wrote the book making the goddamn movie. If it is, you get fucking Maximum Overdrive, and it sucks.
And that's a classic.
It's a classic because it's campy and stupid. It's imagine Stephen King, all of his stupid shit, but there's no way to take the stupid shit away.
There's like an interview for that, or like it's like a part of the trailer where it's like Stephen King from Maximum Overdrive is going like, "I'm going to scare you," and I'm just every time I see that, I just die.
Stephen King's a dumbass.
He is. His brain's all coke at this point.
He's so talented at actual like writing, like the way he
prose?
writes. Yeah, prose. His prose is amazing, but his storytelling is garbage. Like, it just is. There's like entire chapters of his books that are fucking pointless. There's like times where he's just taking a break and just talking about the music of the era, which can be important, but it's not when he does it.
That's what Coke does to you.
He needs a real good editor. Like, he needs an editor who's like not afraid to go, like, Stephen King, this is stupid. Take this out. Or like, Stephen King, like, take out the child orgy scene. Stephen King, why is there a random fucking comet giving people power? Stephen King, what the fuck are you talking about? Giant turtles and shit. Stephen King, not every character needs to be a psychic.
Do you know what Wikipedia is?
Yeah.
Wikipedia is the greatest encyclopedia. It's an online encyclopedia, I'm sorry, but it's the greatest resource known to man. It has lists of whole entire encyclopedia entries on multiple foray of subjects, from what is a fish to what is The Shining.
What is how to fish? How do you fish?
How do you fish?
Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Show him the Wikipedia article on fishing, that'll eat for a lifetime.
This is the most important segment of the show, where we go over the Wikipedia plot summary of a film. And today we got a big old chunker with the Wikipedia plot summary of The Shining. Jonathan,
I figured this one was going to be a big old chunk.
It's a big old chunker.
Big old chunker.
Are you ready to get into the Wikipedia plot summary? Are you? What was that? That was not a yes or no. That was, help me, I am choking on a chicken wing because I ate the entire thing, bone and all.
In my culture, that is a yes.
Your culture is stupid.
Yeah, we didn't last long because we kept choking on chicken wings.
So, are you ready?
Sure.
School teacher turned writer Jack Torrance arrives at a remote overlook hotel in the Rocky Mountains to be interviewed for the position of...
Do you want me to read? Because you can't read today.
Okay, you read. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. I know big words. Okay.
You couldn't... It was the word position.
I just read too fast, you know?
I don't think that's the issue.
Are you gonna go?
Yeah, I was clearing my throat, jackass.
What do you have in the throat?
School teacher turned writer Jack Torrance, a chicken wing. Remember? That's what's in my throat.
I hate you. Go.
School teacher turned writer Jack Torrance arrives at the remote Overlook Hotel in the Rocky Mountains to be interviewed for the position of winter caretaker. The hotel, built on the site of a Native American burial ground, which is not even really like talked about in the film because
It's brought up in a line.
it's brought up in like a line, but like I feel like it's not as important in the film as it was in the novel.
It's important in this film because this film is supposedly about white man's burden, or what supposedly that is.
Or it's also about the moon landing, maybe.
Yeah. I don't think it's about the moon landing. I think he just alludes to the fact that the moon landing was filmed.
Yeah,
Which I believe in. I believe the moon landing was
You think the moon landing was fake?
like jokingly, yes, but I also think like we've been to the moon. Like we've actually been to the moon.
Don't think we went to the moon the first time we went to the moon?
I think we could have lied. It's possible to win the space race, but other than that, I think we've been to the moon. I'm not saying it was a complete lie. We've done shady shit, you know?
I mean, yeah, but that's usually like just introducing crack to the African American population, or legalizing weed so that we can throw Mexicans in jail.
Illegalizing it?
Yeah.
You said legalizing
Oh,
it.
I meant illegalizing. Making it illegal.
Yeah.
Like, we do shady shit, but our shady shit's like much less complicated. We don't try that hard in this country.
I do believe we've gone to the moon. I know that. I'm not completely stupid. I also know the Earth is flat.
So yeah, this is
Because how else would you go straight up if the moon's here? If we're on a circle, you have to go like diagonal. That's not possible.
So this is the end of Visit the Film.
You have to put the rocket. You have to put
differences, and also my co-host is a fucking idiot.
You have to put the rocket at the angle. Since it's flat, that means the moon's right above us, and it would just go straight. That's why all the rockets are straight, because the Earth is flat. That's someone's explanation why to the Earth is flat. It's because the rockets are angled. There's some sense in that, like stupid sense, but like
That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
I know. That's why someone's gonna use that. Someone's gonna like take my ideas from what I just said and be
Just
like, "This guy, he
run
knows
with
something. We haven't been.
You're
to the
gonna
moon."
get invited to the next like flat earthers convention.
Oh, and you know what? I'm fucking going too.
Please do.
I'm gonna see what's up with these flat earthers because you know they're on all the drugs in the world. Or they're just really rich and they don't have a single care in the world.
It's probably a combination of the two. 'Cause when you're really rich and don't have a single care in the world, what can you buy? Drugs.
Moving forward.
Where were we?
Native American burial ground.
The hotel, built on the site of a Native American burial ground, closes during the snowed-in months. Once hired, Jack plans to use the hotel's solitude to write. Manager Stuart Ullman tells Jack about the hotel's history and warns him about its reputation. A previous caretaker, Charles Grady, keeping track of the first name because it's important, of Grady, supposedly developed cabin fever and killed his family and himself. Despite the troubling story, Jack is impressed with the hotel and gets the job.
Jack has like no reaction to anything in this film.
It's one of the there's like this. It's one of the things that Stephen King hated about this film was the way Jack was portrayed, because in his book, he wrote it about his cocaine addiction. And the idea was that like Jack is supposed to be like a good person who succumbs to the hotel, which is supposed to be like his cocaine addiction becomes bad. It's supposed to be like him saying like, hey, I was once a good man who kind of went bad because of the situation I was in, the cocaine, and kind of became bad. Whereas Stanley Kubrick was like, okay, this guy has like all the traits of like a domestic abuser, and let's make it about that. So basically he's supposed to be a bad person who's the Overlook strips away like the way he hides himself and exposes him for the monster he is. Which obviously when Stephen King wrote himself as Jack, having something like, yeah, you were kind of a dickhead the whole time, you fucko. Like, that would obviously rub him the wrong way. But that being said,
Also, it didn't scare him, so
Yeah.
he didn't like it.
fuck you, Stephen King. They kind of skip over how Danny clearly knows that his dad's gonna get the job because like he's psychic, and also the fact that Wendy kind of
Is all teeth?
is
She's 100% teeth. I saw. I didn't know what else she was in. Whatever his name is, Shelley Duvall. She's in a lot of stuff, but she's also in what is it? Guy who eats spinach and then Popeye. She's the main female role. Yeah, I've never seen a more fitting role in my life. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. But yeah, and like Danny, like Wendy straight up asked Danny if like Dad got the job, and he's like, he's about to call now, saying that he's got it. Which is kind of then immediately overlooked the fact that like Wendy just had her son use psychic powers, and they're just like, yeah.
Because she isn't that bright.
Yeah, he's just quirky.
She isn't that bright.
Which is weird because in the, like, the TV version of The Shining, like, everybody's like, yeah, he's psychic. We just don't give a shit. Because that's something that your child discovers they have the ability of, and you're just like, I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. Go be psychic. I don't give a shit. But is it something I could
in the latest adaptation of the It movie, the parents don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, that's because that's supposed to be dairy.
And also, the TV movie, they don't give a shit either.
Yeah.
And they just let this smoking clown on the premises everywhere they go.
And nobody was like, what's that smoking clown doing here? This is supposed to be a nice family drama.
If you want to know what we're talking about this.
Just imagine if like they were trying to adapt it, but it turned into like just a nice family drama. Then Tim Curry just showed up on set, fully dressed up like Pennywise, and nobody invited him. He wasn't cast. He just wouldn't leave.
I think the real problem that this film struggles with is it doesn't have just a weird main character that's just smoking the entire time.
I don't think that's a problem for this film. I think the film is fine for not having that.
I think it's really cool because it exposes the fact we haven't been to the moon.
Fuck you. In Boulder, Jack's son Danny has a terrifying premonition about the hotel, and Jack's wife Wendy tells the doctor about Danny's imaginary friend Tony. This is one of the things like I always hear people talk about. Yeah, this whole movie wouldn't have happened if that doctor was actually good at her job. Because, like, you have Danny, who clearly has, like, some kind of, like, psychological issue, just had a seizure, and whose mother kind of admitted that, like, his dad kind of abused him a little bit. And she's like, oh, you're going to a secluded hotel up in the mountains where it's cold alone with his dad? Fuck it, that'll be fine. Like, if she was at all good at her job, this movie wouldn't have happened.
It was the 80s. No one was good at their job.
Because of all the cocaine.
All the cocaine. Except for Stephen Cocaine.
Stephen Cocaine. No, Stephen King was bad at his job, but not because of the cocaine. He was just bad at his job. Oh. When the family moves into the hotel on closing day, head chef Dick Howerman, best name ever, surprises Danny by telepathically offering him ice cream. Halloran explains to Danny that he and his grandmother shared this telepathic ability, which he calls shining. Halloran tells Danny that the hotel has a shine to it, along with many memories, not all of which are good. He tells Danny to stay away from room 237.
Also, in this film, when Jack goes around getting introduced to the hotel, they just go through every room in the hotel.
Every room.
And none of them make any sense of how they're connected.
Exactly.
Because it's the non-Euclidean geometry or whatever it's called.
And, like, actually when they did the set, they actually made some of the hallways tearaway, where they can move the hallways around to where, like, you would go back to a place you hadn't been in a while, and the actual setup and, like, the architecture would be different. But because they didn't draw attention to it, just kind of subtle thing that, like, starts fucking with your mind a little bit. Yeah. Because, again, it's small details that make or break things. It's like how Jack's typewriter changes every once in a while. It's why the TV is...
Jack's typewriter changes around? Did you know in the foreign versions of this, or different language versions of this, they reshot the typewriters each time?
And Stanley Kubrick's poor secretary... All that stack of paper, not a single page was blank. Even though they knew they weren't going to get that deep, Stanley Kubrick made his poor secretary hand type in all of those pages.
Was it all work, no play makes Jack a dull boy?
Yeah, and then each language had to have its own translated version to a similar, like, phrase, like, that would, like, translate to that culture. And somebody else had to hand type all of those ones, too. Also, the TV's never plugged in. The TV that's playing stuff, it's never plugged in.
Is it? I never noticed that.
Yeah, it's just small little details that, like, you don't necessarily catch, but, like, it just adds to, like, the subconscious.
Well, also TVs back in those days, they needed batteries.
You're so wrong, it hurts. A month passes while Jack's writing goes nowhere. Maybe because you only wrote one sentence over and over again. You fucking idiot. What are you, Stephen King? Danny and Wendy explore the hotel's hedge maze, and Halloran goes to Florida. Wendy learns that the phone lines are out due to the heavy snowfall, and Danny has frightening visions. Jack behaves strangely and becomes prone to violent outbursts. Danny's curiosity about room 237 overcomes him, and he sees the room's doors open. It's just not even talking about the two little girls
Yeah.
who are covered in blood. That
Which,
Danny sees in the
so
hallway.
Danny goes over a bunch of different textile or a bunch of different flooring possibilities, carpet, wood, and the sound they make. The texture of the sound is
so good.
is great ASMR of the wheels on the tricycle going
Also,
over the sound.
great early use of Steadicam
Yeah.
following behind him.
Also, the fact that he was able to go faster than the Steadicam is pretty ambitious. The fact that later on when he's running, the small child is able to keep up with the Steadicam is pretty ambitious as well. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Danny and Cross, these two psychic ghost girls.
Yeah.
That-
And then like he'd see visions of them lying on the floor dead, covered in blood.
Yeah, there's also a bloody elevator somewhere,
Yeah.
and it's just full of Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Later, Wendy finds Jack screaming during a nightmare while asleep at his typewriter. After she awakens him, Jack says he dreamed that he killed her and Danny, chopping him up with an axe, specifically. Danny arrives visibly traumatized and bruised. Wendy accuses Jack of abusing him, which Jack denies. Obviously, she's gonna fucking... Who the fuck else is in the hotel? Who the fuck she's gonna accuse? The ghosts? Oh, wait, shit. Jack wanders into the hotel's gold room and meets a ghostly bartender named Lloyd, to whom he complains about his marriage.
Yep. And he also says I would sell my soul for a drink.
Yep, and then also
And
makes...
then he kind of sells his soul.
Yeah. And then there's also the whole thing where he gets to drink. He's like, white man's bird and Lloyd, which ties into your shit.
Yeah.
Which a bunch of other things tie into that shit, which
Yeah.
we can talk about later.
Yeah.
Wendy tells Jack that Danny told her a crazy woman in room 237 attempts to strangle him. Oh, it doesn't mention at all in this that like Jack is in like alcohol recovery. He's on the wagon, hasn't been
Yeah.
drinking in a while, and then here he has like ghost alcohol,
Yeah.
which is more potent than real alcohol. Because it doesn't need time that goes straight to your liver. It just phases through. Jack investigates room 237 and encounters a dead woman's ghost, but he tells Wendy that he saw nothing.
So this is a succubus, right? That's what this is.
I don't think so. I think it's just a dead woman.
Is it?
I don't think it's supposed to be a specific type of...
Because it's like
Spirit.
a sexy woman, then it's old, rotting woman, and I think it's obviously supposed to be because you have the guy that killed his wife and his
Yeah.
two daughters. So the two daughters are there as ghosts. This is the wife as the ghost, probably, presumably.
I mean, like, Howerman said, like, a lot of bad things happened at this hotel. So, like, a lot of people have probably died.
yeah, I know, but I'm assuming the main one.
Then who the fuck was,
the guy getting the blowjob from that mask?
And the dog.
That was his dog.
Oh.
But I think it's just like some weird like succubus shit. That's kind of what I interpret it as. And it's also why Jack becomes more evil because he had a weird relationship with a succubus.
I mean, like, he was clearly on the downward spiral the whole time.
Yeah.
Wendy and Jack argue over whether Danny should be removed from the hotel, and Jack angrily returns to the gold room, now filled with ghosts attending a ball, a 20s ball.
Yeah.
Straight out of The Great Gatsby, but not
Yeah.
the movie, because The Great Gatsby movie sucks.
Yeah.
While participating, he meets the ghost of Grady with a different name. The Grady introduced himself with a different first name than the Grady that Jack knows.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that in here, but he does, and that's semi-important. Grady, who tells Jack that he must correct his wife and child, and that Danny has reached out to Howard using his talent. Howard grows concerned about what's going on at the hotel and flies back to Colorado. Danny calls out red rum and goes into another trance, referring to himself as Tony. This skips over the fact that...
Tony's the small guy that lives in his throat.
Yeah, his magic friend. But also skips over the fact that Grady tells Jack that he's always been the caretaker of the hotel. That Grady's been here, like, forever, and, like, Jack's been here forever, and Jack's always been the caretaker, and Grady was never the caretaker.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. While searching for Jack, Whitney discovers that her now deranged husband has been typing a page filled with all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. She begs Jack to leave the hotel with Danny, but he threatens her. Whitney knocks him unconscious with a baseball bat and locks him in the kitchen pantry.
Which is a dumb move because if you're in a scenario where it's endgame, you just kill him.
I don't think she knew it was endgame.
It's endgame. Once he says he's gonna murder you with an axe, it's endgame.
When he gets all the gauntlets and he's like, "I'm Tony Stark. It's the endgame.
It's the endgame.
It's the endgame.
It's the endgame." But like once he says he's gonna murder you with a hatchet, endgame. Like even if he's joking, endgame.
Like yeah, when he's like says like, "I'm not gonna hurt you," he didn't let me finish. I said, "I'm not gonna hurt you. I just want to bash your brains in. I want to bash it right the fuck in."
Yeah.
That's when it's endgame.
It's endgame.
That's endgame.
It's endgame.
It's endgame.
You throw him down the stairs a second time.
But she and Danny are both trapped as Jack has disabled the hotel's two-way radio and Snowcat. Jack converses through the pantry door with Grady, who frees him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danny continues chanting and drawing the word red rum. When Wendy sees the words reversed in the bedroom, he's holding a knife when he does this. When he sees the word reversed in the bedroom mirror, the word is revealed to be murder.
Yeah.
It's like Alucard. Totally not Dracula.
Yeah.
Jack hacks through the quarter's main door with an axe. Fun fact about this. So when you do like these type of scenes in films, you use weaker type of wood doors so they can break away easier because most people don't know how to actually use an axe to cut down a good door. Jack, however, Nicholson, was a volunteer firefighter. So he did know that. So they put the fake doors up at first and he fucking destroyed them. He just wrecked them. So Stanley Kubrick had to pay extra money to get real good doors for him to destroy. I just thought that's interesting and fun. Jack breaks through. Jack hacks through the corridor's main door with an axe. Whitney sends Danny through the bathroom window, but it will not open sufficiently for her to pass. Jack breaks through the door, but retreats after Whitney slashes his hand with a knife. Hearing Halloran arriving in a snowcat, Jack ambushes and murders him in the lobby.
He murders the only
black character, but the main black character. There's the other guy he talks on the phone for a little bit.
Yeah, but the only person that gets murdered in this film's black.
Yep.
On screen is black.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because it's a horror film.
Yeah.
Ben pursues Danny into the hedge maze. Wendy runs through the hotel looking for Danny, encountering ghosts, one of which is giving a blowjob while wearing a dog costume.
No, it's not that easy. It doesn't appear to be that easy. It doesn't look like there's any holes. Maybe he was just sniffing some nuts.
I don't know. Literally every time I've watched this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to get a blowjob. I've like looked at the mask. I was like, but how?
He's just sniffing some nuts, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
It's the little details that matter.
Yeah. A cascade of blood Danny envisioned in Boulder and Halloran's corpse. Danny lays a false trail to mislead Jack and hides behind a snowdrift. Danny escapes from the maze and reunites with Wendy. They leave in Halloran's snowcat while Jack freezes to death after losing Danny's trail. Why didn't he just follow his own steps backwards?
That's what I was thinking the entire time.
Yeah, like that's literally what.
But also
Danny
maybe
did.
like it doesn't put his position, so maybe he just froze to death.
Yeah, who knows?
Just stayed outside like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a photograph in the hotel lobby, Jack is pictured standing amidst a crowd of party revelers from 1921.
Yeah. So let's go over some issues. What is happening here? Well, like
With the picture?
yeah. So like
Theories.
My
Theory time.
Theory time. My idea is it's an endless loop that happens through multiple years.
Yeah, there's
So like Jack's destiny, regardless of any life, is to be there and attempt to murder his family.
Yeah.
And he'll either fail or succeed, but he's always gonna be in that clause.
Yeah, there's some of the theories revolve on the fact that Dick mentioned, I'm not going to call him Howard, I'm going to call him Dick because I think that's funner. Dick kind of mentioned that like him and his grandmother shines. There's like an idea that shining is like partially genetic.
Yeah.
Which means if Danny can shine, it's theorized that Jack can shine.
Yeah.
But Dick said that like not everybody's fully aware of their capabilities. Danny is, Dick is, and Dick's grandmother was. Jack may not be aware of his shining capabilities, so it's theorized that like he's tapping into the inherent shine of the hotel, but because he's not aware of his abilities, he can't control what he's seeing, and things just kind of they're able to attack him more strongly. And it's also theorized that Jack is like almost a reincarnation of a character from The Shine, or like the hotel itself shining out to people. and like trying to lure more victims in and things like that.
Yeah.
There's also the idea of like fate and time loops and time paradoxes and shit like that. So,
my theory is whatever life he reincarnates into, he's always going to end up there.
yeah,
And that's
because he's always been the caretaker and he'll always be the caretaker.
Also, what does this film have to like? What does this theoretically or no metaphorically mean? What is this film about?
Oh fuck!
Is it the
Don't
Earth
do
is-
cocaine.
I think what it's metaphorically about is the fact that white people would just destroy themselves without anything else to destroy.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of theories about the meaning of this film. There's the theory that it's kind of a metaphor for the treatment of Native Americans at the hands of white settlers, and
There's a
How?
whole entire documentary, I think it's called Room 237, which
yeah.
I watched a way long time ago.
it's like half good, half bad.
'Cause,
Because
like,
some
some-
of the theories make a lot of sense, and everyone's just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
yeah. I forget. I can't even remember the dumb ones. I wish I could.
It's an interesting documentary. It's entertaining throughout because like half of it's like, "Oh, that makes sense." The other half is like, "Ha, you're fucking stupid."
Danny wears a Apollo whatever.
Which is people use like they faked the moon landing. Kubrick faked the moon landing, and he's admitting to it.
He did.
Fuck you.
I don't think Kubrick faked the moon landing.
Literally, that theory started entirely because of
Of
how
me.
good of like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and because of that fucking shirt. That's fucking it.
Yeah, because NASA really faked the moon landing.
Yeah.
They don't need any directors. They just use government technology.
There's literally like the fear, like, yeah, so Stanley Kubrick made 2001 to test the special effects he'd be using to fake the moon land. It's like, yeah, he's wasted fuck tons of money getting that goddamn movie made, and he made sure it was a goddamn artistic masterpiece just so he could test some special effects.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Makes sense.
You know what I would do? I would just do some test footage. It's cheaper.
No. You can make a whole entire fake movie to cover it
Yep.
up.
Collaborate with a famous science fiction author to write a book at the same time as you're writing your movie, and then you fake the movie.
Yeah. Anything else that this film means?
It could mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's complicated, and like, you know, I like my obscure ass meaning movies.
Yeah.
But like, this one's really kind of hard to decipher because there's a lot going on, and Kubrick is
What does the dog blowjob mask guy mean?
exactly, and it's not like Eraserhead where like sometimes you can like dismiss something as like just being surreal and weird. Like, what the fuck is the actual scene that the title of the movie comes from about? I still don't fucking know. And I've
Because
watched
he
it.
turns into a pencil.
Okay, but like, what's that add to the overall theme?
It doesn't.
Exactly. Maybe it might. I don't know. I've watched the movie like fucking tons of times. I still don't fully know. This one, it's kind of weird because it has that insane level of crypticness that you would expect from like a surrealist film, but it only has like a very small handful of surrealist elements.
Yeah. Like dog blowjob.
Like Dog Blowjob.
Okay. Are you ready to get into some not good segment?
Sure.
It's time to go over. Google Reviews is it's an entity on the internet where anyone can put whatever they think about a franchise, a book, a movie, an album, a song, and they can review it of what they think critically about this. This week I did something really interesting, and I only put negative reviews because they just look so appealingly bad. Okay, first of all, Google Reviews, 88% of people like this movie. That is less than the Google review score for Silent Hill. The film, not the game. Silent Hill, the film, has an 89. This has an 88. The first Google review is from Sharda Shah, and it's a downvote. And Jonathan, take it away. This is just bad. This is gonna be bad. These reviews are gonna be.
Except acting. Nothing is more good in this. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck? Your first sentence literally told me that you're fucking stupid. Like, what is... Nothing is more good
In this movie.
in this movie.
Nothing is more good than
Does that mean nothing is better than the acting? But then why did you put except acting? Why don't you just put nothing is more good than acting in this movie?
Nothing is more good. Continue.
Why didn't you put just nothing is good?
Okay, we can comment on the grammar all they want, but it's more about the content.
Okay, fine. Well, this is the content. I don't know what the fucking content is because I don't know what the fuck this means. Number 1 on my most awful list. You're number 1 on my fucking dumbass list. Let's start with the actors. Jack Nicholson puts on a terrific performance in this movie. I will say that much. However, I hate to say that is the only good thing about this movie. The woman can't, Shelley Duvall, even remember her name, is one of the worst actors I've ever seen. Fuck you. Okay. This is something I want to go on a tangent about.
Okay.
Because this is something I fucking see all the goddamn time when people are complaining about this movie. It's like, Shelley Duvall, her performance was so bad. She was just whiny the whole fucking time. And yada, yada, yada.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah, it's a horror film. B, they're always comparing her to like how she is in like the book where like she's a little more like strong and like willed and independent. But again, this one's changing the metaphor from cocaine, in which case her as a person has will to nothing to do with that metaphor, to a metaphor for domestic abuse, in which case she is the victim of domestic abuse. And she plays that horrible status that you can be in as a person, like as a victim of domestic abuse to a T. Like she has like all of the like things that you'd expect from that. From a person trapped in like a domestic abuse situation where they're truly like in love with the person who's abusing them and they can't get out, but like they're still a victim of it. So it's a fucking really good performance. And also Danny, for being a fucking child actor, did a goddamn good job. Also Lloyd nailed his fucking performance.
Yeah.
I truly bought that he worked in a bar.
Yeah.
She was just annoying. I was pleading with the movie for her death. Okay, fuck you. The little boy in his slobbering fits made me just want to puke. Fuck you again.
Does this person not like children?
I think this person doesn't like
Anything.
people.
Yeah.
He seems to only like Jack Nicholson, the domestic abuse.
No, the only good thing in this movie was Nicholson, so they relate to the psychopath.
You relate to the abusive individual, not the victims of
Yeah.
the abuse.
That's interesting.
The plot is not too bad, but it is, to be honest, very lame.
Dog blowjob is very lame.
What's lame about this? Okay, let's compare this plot. Well, yes, if you boil the plot down to its most bare bones elements, yes, it's pretty fucking lame and generic because it's a fucking basic ass horror plot. Mm-hmm. But what it succeeds in is taking that shit, and this is what Kubrick does very, very well, is he's able to take basic genres and then elevate them into like art house films. Mm-hmm. Like, because I don't know if you had a lot of the Nod classes where he like defined art film as like a separate genre, where it's like it almost has its own style conventions and own veins, where a key element of it is time and focusing on like time and shit like that. Kubrick basically was able to take art films and bring them to a more commercial and easily accessible place for the masses. So like this took a very bare bones generic ass storyline from a shitty author and was able to transform it into like a merging of like horror and art house in a way that's fucking fantastic. So is it generic? Yes. Is it lame? No. Yeah. And also like even for like being like, it's still a good basic ghost haunting plot line. It's not one of the like really shitty bad ones that we get so many of. It's not fucking 13 ghosts. So like
I don't even remember 13. That was the one with Monk in it, right?
Yeah.
Monk's in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As is the dude that plays Shaggy.
Oh.
We should do that.
No.
It's for the meme.
I don't think I could handle Monk. Can we just do Monk instead?
The plot's not too bad, but it is, to be honest, very lame. He is a caretaker and must take care of the hotel. That's actually a good line. I like that. That's
wow,
a
you're
funny
very easily amused.
No, like, well, compared to the rest of the shit. It's closed during the winter. It's closed. He takes his wife and child to live up there. Nothing happens for the longest time. It is just such a Okay. This is another complaint I hear about a lot of this movie, is that nothing happens and it's boring.
It's build up.
Yeah, it's
you
build
need
up.
build up.
This is a film about isolation. They're literally isolated from the world in a cabin. If you fill the film with things happening one after the other, where it's like ghost haunting, you lose the sense of the isolation that's key to the film.
Even then, I think one thing that this film kind of rushes is not even like in pacing, is the fact that they're only there for like a month.
Yeah. If anything, they should have fucking drugged this shit out longer. But like, yeah, like the point of the film is to highlight the time and the loneliness and the isolation. If you fill your film with generic horror film cliche after generic horror film cliche and bullshit after bullshit, you lose that. So, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to have a generic-ass shitty horror film, or do you want to have a horror film that actually stays true to its themes and purpose with its pacing and structure? Do you want schlock or an actual artistic statement?
Want schlock.
Fuck you.
The guy with the dog mask wanted some schlock. But he cut it because he didn't have an orifice to open on his mask.
Okay. Nothing Happens for the Longest Time is just such a boring movie. I was so sick of it by the time Nicholson started losing it. By the way, he loses it for no reason. Bullshit. He loses it because of the isolation. He loses it because of the ghost. He loses it because he's a domestic abuser and he's slowly losing his, like, facade.
Yeah.
He's turning into the asshole he always has been. This movie doesn't explain anything. I've never read the book, so I'm guessing you'd have to read the book to understand anything. No, not really. Don't read the book because it's by Stephen King.
I can't read, so.
I mean, yeah, that too. The kid has a magical talent or something called The Shining, but this has nothing to do with the movie. I was at a total loss. It has a lot to do with the movie.
Yeah. It's a plot point.
It's a major plot point, and also the hotel itself can shine. Wonder what Shining might have to do with it.
Yeah.
There's a rather grotesque scene involving a naked woman that really made me want to shut this off, but something like you're watching a horror film, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, you got one of your like bare bones generic-ish like horror moments, one of the typical things you expect.
I thought you were gonna say bare ass.
I mean, yeah, that too. Like, you get one of the like more traditional horror elements, and that's why you wanted to shut it off. You fucking picked a horror film to watch. It'd be like I watch a comedy and I turn off because there was a joke. But something drew me in. I guess I just want to see how bad it could really get. Woo, I wish I didn't do that. It just gets worse and worse after that. The plot falls short with tons of holes. The story is absolutely boring and crooked. And the climax is totally predictable. What part?
The part where the two people escape.
Oh. I guess.
It's not really.
Not really. It's a horror film.
Because what would have been predictable is Jack actually retraced his own steps back.
Yeah, because that's what a normal person would do.
Escaped like a normal person.
I knew the black guy would go up to the hotel, get killed, and the woman child would take the vehicle and escape. Okay, yeah, I guess that kind of a little predictable. The music is so horribly screechy. Fuck you. The music is so horribly screechy, I just want to clap my ears and cause deafness every 5 minutes, but I guess it fits the grotesque atmosphere of the movie. It does.
But you're making it like this is like an experimental soundtrack. It really isn't.
No, it uses pretty...
It's suspenseful. It's not experimental.
It sometimes goes a little heavy on certain elements, but that works.
This is not like the Eraserhead soundtrack where it's just ambient, dark ambience.
Yeah, followed by machine sex.
Yeah.
Why is it right after I said that my first thought was a song that got a machine head? I was utterly disgusted by this movie. If this is supposedly the best of horror, I will never want to watch the horror genre again for fear of seeing its worst. Wait, have you never watched a horror film?
So go forward in one number line.
4 out of 10.
This is their worst, number one on their worst list, but it's a 4 out of 10. So why don't if this is number one on your worst list, why don't make the 4 a 0? I feel like that guy in
you don't know grammar, and apparently you don't know math.
I feel like that guy in what movie is it? This is Spinal Tap. Also, 5 people found this helpful.
5 people are stupid. Why did you just make the 10 louder? Why didn't you just make the 4 lower?
Next one is from Krishka Argwal, and she gave this a downvote.
I got around to finally watching it after having heard stupendous reviews of it. Honestly, anybody who used the word stupendous, I usually just ignore.
Yeah.
It's a dumb word. It's honestly a dumb word. That was a very weirdly spiteful thing of me to say.
Everything you were saying in the last like 10 minutes has been spiteful.
Okay, that one was not weirdly spiteful. That was justified spite. That one.
I was just saying spiteful. I wasn't saying weirdly spiteful.
That one was a little unnecessary. I'm sorry for criticizing your use of the word stupendous. I personally don't like the word. I think it sounds weird. It doesn't flow well in sentences.
You think this person's watching? No, they don't watch anything.
Nothing good, so they might watch our show.
Because we're not good.
Here's mine. The acting of Jas is impressive. I'd have liked the movie had it not been so incomplete. Well, there are so many loopholes. I think you mean plot holes.
You didn't
loopholes is how you get out of taxes.
You forgot to say incomplete.
I did say incomplete. I said it. So incomplete. There. I just kind of say it just quickly. There are so many loopholes. Again, plot holes. Loopholes are how you get out of taxes and work.
Yeah.
A lot of the things aren't really explained. Not every movie has to hold your hand and spoon feed you exposition so you can get the whole point.
Yeah.
No, sometimes
like we don't want the moon landing. We want the.
Sometimes a film wants you to actually work a little bit and work with it and try so that you can think for yourself and come to conclusions because, that's art. I'm just gonna move on now.
You hate the fact that I'm just japing you on this moon thing.
I'm just ignoring you now. Whenever you talk about the moon landing, I'm just gonna ignore you.
Did you know we actually been to Mars? We went to Mars
starts
first.
off as a vapid one, ends on an unpredictable point, at least for me. But then it's not really the best or even one of the best movies of this horror genre.
Vapid's not a real word.
It is a real word.
It's not.
Vincent. It's more of a real word than stupendous. It's not really the best or even one of the best. Oh, I already said that. Although it is thought-provoking and has more to it than what we see in recent horror movies, there are so many inexplicable things that didn't really do it for me. You really explained why it's like that, though, and you called it thought-provoking. It's provoking you to think about the things it didn't explain. It's not got those typical scary things. No intense music. You fucking deaf?
No dark lights, like dark light, like
No dark nights.
Oh.
Learn to read.
oh. Well, there's a scene where they're outside.
Yeah, in the dark. It's where the fucking final scene of the film takes place.
Maybe it was supposed to be multiple nights that were dark.
Oh,
even
yeah.
then,
You only got one Dark Knight, and you wanted multiple. We did. It's called The Dark Knight Rises, and it wasn't that good.
I was thinking more of the Dark Knight from Scooby Doo. No, it's the Black Knight. No,
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Oh well.
Which makes it different, and I don't mind it being slow because it's a movie from the 80s. What does being from the 80s have to do with it being slow? There's a ton of
Time moved different back then because everyone was on cocaine. So
that would have made the movie faster because they were on cocaine.
No, but collectively everyone was on cocaine. But like time as a whole, sloop to crawl.
To counter their cocaine.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Actually, yeah, that's how
time works. Yeah.
Stephen Hawking is
Same way. Earth is flat because our rockets go straight, not at an angle.
God damn it! But what are you talking about? It's from the 80s, and therefore, I'm just trying to wrap my head.
Time moved different back then.
The 80s were sometimes they were slow, but like they were also sometimes not slow at all.
Because it's old, it's slow. And that's
movie ageist. Also, the plot is good with 3 O's and is randomly capitalized. But no, man, if I am seeing a movie, I need to know why things happen the way they did by the end of it. No, you don't. No, you don't. You really don't. You really fucking don't.
See,
you might need to.
That's why 2001: A Space Odyssey is better than the moon landing.
You might need to know why everything happened the way it happened. But that's not the fault of the movie. That's the fault of you not wanting to think.
Stanley Kubrick got offered a contract to make the moon landing, but it wasn't going to be up to his artistic snuff, so he made 2001: A Space Odyssey around the same time.
I feel like 2001: A Space Odyssey cost more than like actually going to the moon.
No.
It might have.
No.
It's got to be expensive to do the special effects they did.
Yes, but not rocket money.
Yeah.
Rocket money. Where are you gonna get the fuel?
Steal it
It's gas
from Russia.
Wait, do they use rocket fuel? It's probably more expensive than gas, or it's more cheaper than gas because gas is expensive for no point reason whatsoever.
It's just a big question mark for me that's built up by a dozen tiny ones. And that's why it's good.
And 8 people found this review helpful.
8 people are still stupid.
Time to move on to the Internet Movie Database, which is a place where all the movies are stored, and users can also review movies of their own choosing on there and critique them in ways they see fit. We only got one this week on IMDb. 8.4 people. It has an 8.4 out of 10, which is better than Silent Hill.
Good.
The film.
Good.
Which has like a 6 something, I
Good.
think.
Jesus Christ. Why did people like on Google? Google's where you get all the really fucking stupid people, apparently. If they
And
like.
there's one review this week, and Jonathan, I want you to try to read it really fast because it's really long.
Okay. Do I get to do my usual tirades?
No, just wait until the end.
Okay.
There's this one's super long and it's all one paragraph.
Okay.
This one's from Cineast FGD, and it's titled "Probably the most overrated movie out of all time." 1 out of 10. All times.
All times.
1 out of 10.
Every possible timeline. Every possible alternative universe, this is still the most overrated movie in all of them.
No. Shrek.
According to them.
Shrek 2 is pretty overrated.
Fuck you. Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1.
Shrek 1's better.
Fuck off. Shrek 2 is funny.
Shrek 2 is it's a good movie, but it's not better than 1. I've seen people
So
tell
much
me
better
this.
than 1. This is probably the most overrated movie of all times. You did it again. I'm not a huge horror fan and I get scared very easily, but this movie actually made me laugh or sigh in despair about the lengthiness of the scenes
And
and the predictability of the
plot.
I want to say things.
Just say things then.
No, I'll wait till the end. I read the novel when I was a teen and it beat the crap out of me. How did... You weak.
It's physically abused this
You
person.
even lived.
Wow, it's kind of like Jack. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
It's deep.
I am still afraid of bathtubs and hotel rooms. Embarrassing. I am too, but that's because I don't want to get who knows what kind of diseases.
No, I'm scared of bathtubs because of Jaws. Because sharks can travel through water, and they may come through my faucet.
Yep, that's how that works. What's gonna keep from coming out of your shower? Though?
Multiple sharks.
Each one coming out of each stream.
Or the
shower.
shark just gets spliced.
Oh my god.
The fact that that's not a part of Sharknado, where he just puts the end of like a shower
water
faucet,
faucet,
it just splices it because it goes through it.
The novel is an all-time favorite of me, and when I read all the great reviews for Kubrick's Shining, I was really looking forward to see the movie. What a mistake. For all lovers of the book, this is not a book adaptation. Okay, I have to say something.
Okay.
This is the thing I've been saying. An adaptation does not have to be perfectly accurate. It can be. It can be very accurate. But it doesn't have to be because it's, what's the word? An adaptation. It's adapting something. It's adapting it for a different medium, which has different conventions, different expectations, different things that you can and cannot do. Also, it's being adapted by a different fucking person, which means they have different artistic sensibilities, different ideas, different things they want to get across, different values, which means that they're going to change certain things to fit their own artistic vision. It does not mean that they have to be the same artistic vision as the original. Stephen King has his own shitty artistic vision, fueled by cocaine and child orgies, apparently, and Stanley Kubrick has his own artistic vision fueled by abusing his actors and perfection.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of white male directors.
Yeah, I mean that's Hitchcock, Godard, Kubrick, Wells, Chaplin, Tarantino. Insert white male director name here.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be perfectly like the book. Actually, it shouldn't be perfectly like the book, because if it was, just read the fucking book. If it's the exact same thing, if the exact same ideas and the exact same everything, then what's the fucking point of making it? You already have the book. You already have everything that it's going to be saying there in the original book. You're not saying anything new or different.
But I want to view it with my eyes.
That's because you're fucking lazy. Just read the fucking book. So like,
But I want to view it with my eyes.
and yeah, that sometimes that's okay if you just want to view some of your eyes, sure. But like,
I want to look at the sun with my bare eyes.
when you're adapting something, you should actively be trying to say either something new or furthering the point made in the original. That's why so many remakes fall short, because they don't try to say anything new. They just try to recapture everything about the original, usually saying less than the original did.
Yep.
So, is it like the book? No. Should it be like the book? Fuck no. Mostly because Stephen King can't fucking write worth shit.
Yeah. And I think you summed up this entire thing, so we probably shouldn't read through because it's so long and it hurts me. I don't think. Do you want to read through the rest of it?
Sure,
we can.
I don't think I'm gonna have anything more to say, but yeah.
It's just really long.
What a mistake for all lovers of the book. This is not a book adaptation. Yes, it is. Kubrick made his own story, unfortunately.
No, you put it wrong. Kubrick.
Made his own story, unfortunately. Not only does Dick Hallorann get murdered by Jack, the fact he survives in the novel is one of the reasons I love the book so much. Has, after all, somewhat of a happy ending. But even worse, Kubrick turned the whole story around and twisted it to an extent where the original plot is hard to recognize. Jack Torrance is very obviously a madman right from the beginning who very openly hates his wife and kid. So as others have pointed out before, why didn't he leave his family or killed them before? The whole point of the novel, a normal guy and a loving father with a hang to alcohol who gradually gets brainwashed by appearances in a hotel, gets totally lost. One might wonder why the movie even needs the whole hotel plot if Torrance is already mad as a hatter from the very beginning. Apart from this, I guess I had not read the novel, I would probably not understand one bit of what was going on with the characters, but unfortunately that's not all. Also, the performances of Nicholson and Duvall were so lousy, it really crept me out.
Crept me out?
Crept me out. It's a horror film, isn't it supposed to creep you out? Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I've never seen Jack Nicholson perform so badly. I have.
What was it?
Fuck, what was the movie? There's like a movie where he plays the devil. It's bad. There's also the first film Who Was Ever in the Skulls, where he just kind of shows up, and it was bad. And he's also in the original Little Shop of Horrors. He plays the dentist masochist who shows up to be tortured, and it's actually good. But like, it's still a bad performance, but it's like campy.
I always forget there's like a non-musical version of Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, that was actually the first version I ever saw. I didn't see the original musical first. I saw the one from like the 30s first, because I'm a nerd.
It's from the 30s?
Yeah, it's old as shit.
And Jack Nicholson's in it.
Or maybe it's like the 40s. It's old as shit, but yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
How old? He's not that.
He's pretty old.
I didn't think he was that old.
He's pretty fucking old.
Okay.
Keep in mind how old he looked in this, and that was the 80s.
Yeah. So you were in like 40?
Yeah, probably.
Ugh. Yeah.
He seemed like a parody of himself, and don't get me started on Shelley Duvall. Periodically, I thought I watched some amateur actor in a school play. Her adaptation of Wendy Torrance was so annoying, I was staggered between the wish of seeing her chopped to pieces and the wish to see her survive and protect her little boy.
People was identifying with the
Why does your
with the killer.
everybody was like, man, she's so annoying. I just want to see her get, killed and abused by her abuser. Fuck you. The character Wendy in the novel is a strong and resourceful person. The Wendy in the movie is a whiny, weak, and extremely stupid person. The fact that she lays down and sleeps while she is trapped with her sick son and a madman in a hotel with no contact to the outside world is beneath me. Okay, she locked him in a pantry, which had a shit ton of locks on it.
But she didn't do the end game. She is kind of dumb.
She doesn't know there's fucking ghosts in the hotel to unlock doors. And,
But she didn't do the end game.
You have to sleep.
She was kind of asking for it. She didn't follow traditional end game procedures. You gotta double tap and throw him down the stairs a second time.
Double tap, that's from Zombieland.
Yeah.
That's Zombieland procedures.
Yeah, but
in the game is just snap your fingers
applies
and
to real
everybody dies.
life too. It's crossover appeal. It's like a Venn diagram. Yeah.
You almost said Van Damme.
Van Damme.
Like,
It's a Rob Van Dam.
It's a Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No, Rob Van Dam. He's cooler because he smokes weed and is a professional wrestler. Claude Van Damme just does black flips.
Jean-Claude Van Damme was also in Time Cop.
That's why.
The ending is probably the worst part of the entire movie. On the one hand, it's ecstasy as the film draws to an end. On the other hand, it is as far from the original plot as can be, which is, in this case is an extremely bad thing. The only actor that impressed me was Danny Lloyd, apart from the fact that Kubrick partly tried to turn him into a parody of Reagan McNeil. I think he did a fantastic job for the little 6-year-old boy he was to that time. He seemed like the only natural actor on the scene. Fun fact, Danny didn't even know he was making a horror film. He didn't learn about that Shining was a horror film until he was an adult and watched it. Stanley Kubrick hid the whole time that it was a horror film from the kid, because the only soft spot that Stanley Kubrick has for people is kids. Everybody else, fuck you.
I bet Stephen King has a soft spot for kids.
I'm not going to say anything because it's very inappropriate. All in all, this movie was by far the biggest disappointment I've seen for a long time. Save your time. Better read the book.
No. 139 out of 235 people found this helpful. 139.
Look,
that's
Stephen King has some fucking rabid-ass fans. Like, they're fucking rabid.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying because, again, his plots are garbage. His random-ass elements that make no fucking sense, no matter how well you write them, are still stupid.
Yeah. Is it good?
Fuck yeah.
Where's the tier?
Fucking S tier.
Yeah, S tier.
Fucking
Yeah.
S tier.
Yeah. It's time for a final terrible segment. This segment's always bad. It's to close off the show. It's a bad segment.
That's why it's called the final terrible segment.
It's bad. It's a bad segment. We do it to close off all the shows. It's different each time. It's differently bad each time. Last time we just literally did the noise from It. What is it? We did that for a solid. He did that for a solid minute, and he did not die. So we're still here. This time we have top 10. This is 100% true. Top 10. These are all 100% legitimate conspiracy theories. Top 10 conspiracy theories about this film. Just list them off on the top of our heads, but they're in the correct order. They're completely factual.
Completely factual, obviously in the proper order. Okay.
Okay, number 10.
Number
10. It's the guy with the dog mask. It's the ghost of the dog.
We already covered that one. Good to go. Number
9.
9. The film was actually shot on the moon.
Number
7. 8.
You know how to do math?
We both fucked up.
The reason Danny didn't know about this being a horror film is because it was actually a documentary. It was shot in real life. Number
7. The dog-faced guy is actually the ghost of Cujo.
Shit. I didn't think about that one. Number.
That's why I got the deep cut.
Maybe that's like
theories.
about. Well, it obviously is because it's 100% legitimate. But maybe that's like a diss at Cujo, because there's disses.
There's like I didn't mention this. There's like theories that like Kubrick's just straight up dissing like Keen into this adaptation because
like the crash cart scene.
Yeah, so
that?
like he changed the type of car that they drive up to the mountains, which on one hand you'd think like, oh, okay, that's just like an economic change probably. This was the car they had available. But then you find a crashed car while they're driving back, and it's the type of car that they drove in the novel is the one that they wrecked. And it's just things like that people are like, oh yeah, maybe Stanley Kubrick was just giving these very not so subtle fuck yous to Keen, which he deserves because he sucks and he writes child orgies into his books.
Yeah. What number are we at?
I think 6.
I had a really good one. I forgot what it was. Oh, the reason he has Danny has a spaceship that goes straight is because he was directing that the Earth actually is flat, and the reason we get to the moon is because we just go straight up. Because if we go at the angle, the Earth would be round. Because the moon would surround us, they would go in circles. Over? No, the number
5. The segment's over.
No, it's not. We still got 5 legitimate segments, but
the segment's over.
Are they too true? Too true that we have to end here?
No, it's just you mentioned the flat Earth, and I'm done. I'm just done.
Explain why our rockets don't go at an angle, Jonathan.
They fucking do. Why do you think they have to map trajectory?
Number
5.
It's your turn.
I'm so done because you mentioned I'm paying your cat.
Don't pat my cat. It's over there.
Cat's
it doesn't need shit. Number 5, Jonathan.
Number 5. Number 5.
You come up with a counter theory why the Earth actually isn't flat, but you don't. You just tend to just be over with the segment. That's why I asked you, should we just end it? But no.
No, I was the one saying the segment was over because you mentioned the Earth was flat and you forced me to keep going.
Yeah. I said you...
Anyway, number 5. The hotel, or the elevator, when it opens up and all the blood comes out, that's because Pennywise fucked up on his pipe veins. He was trying to get it to Derry and he fucked up and put it in the hotel.
Number
4.
The blood elevator is actually a complicated message about AIDS.
Fuck it. That one's real. That one's too real. That one's too fucking real. What are we on? Number 3? Number 3. What's a good theory for number 3?
I'm trying to remember some of the really bad ones.
The thing is, there's so many like actual theories about this film. I'm probably gonna stumble dick first and make a joke about our real.
I think we joked. I think we reached the peak, and now we're just done. So this segment's over.
This segment's over. This was top 6.
Top 6. No, but the one about the dog mask probably actually. The more I think about it, could be, probably isn't, but I like to think it is. In my own twisted dimension, it is, where the Earth is flat. The moon landing was faked. Is it a film?
Yeah, it's a great film. One of the best films ever made.
And yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of Is It a Film? Until next time, guys, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so by following us at Is It a Film on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And if you want to find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Is It a Film. And
if you want Vincent's cat to be in the next episode, leave a comment demanding
my
for
cat's
cats.
there. My cat is there.
If you want Vincent's cat on camera in the next film, just leave a bunch of comments demanding Vincent's cat.
Leave my cat alone.
Demand
Jonathan.
the cat.
Leave my cat alone.
Demand that pussy.
We're going to end it there. Because Jonathan ruins everything.
I do.
And until next time, guys.
That's how you know it's time to end the show. Until
next time, guys. I'm
everything.
Vincent.
I'm Jonathan.
And
oh wait, no, I'm Tim. Remember?
oh fuck you. See you, boyos.